we're gonna jump right in. Our next guest has been in the waiting room.
And some of you that have been with us for a while and or know him personally have met him. He is one of our judges. He was actually the winner of our poetry contest last year.
Mhm.
This year, he has decided that he wanted to be a judge for us.
Yes.
So, welcome, A.A. Rubin.
Yes.
So, he's going to also share with us The Bells
Yes.
and an original poem that he wrote called Nightwalkers.
Which is what won
What
first
won
place
first place last year.
Yes.
So A.A. Rubin only exists only in dreams within dreams. He writes everything from formal poetry to comics, literary fiction to science fiction and fantasy, and almost everything in between. He is a member of the SFWA, and you'll have to tell us what those stand for, Ari, and the HWA, a Poe Saturday Visit Award nominee, and a first place winner, as we said, with the Poet Like Poe contest with us. His work has appeared recently in Love Letters to Poe, Ahoy Comics, and the Cowboy Jamboree. He can be reached on social media as at the Surreal Ari or through his website, which is www.aarubin, which is aarubin.com. He's a connoisseur of fine amontillado. He has been known to clean mysterious white stains off the bust of Pallas, which sits on his writing desk. He loves with a love that is more than love. So he also has a backer kit for his book called The Awful Alphabet. So hopefully he'll tell us more about that so you can go support him for that.
Yes.
So without further ado, welcome and thank you for joining us, Ari.
Yes. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How's
Yep.
it going up
Going
in
all right.
your neck of the woods?
It's all right. It's all right. We had some some cold, unseasonably cold and rainy
Ooh.
weather recently, but it's been nicer the last 2 days.
Okay.
And before you get started, Ari, I would like to jump in because we have someone joining us on the live stream that is new and wants to know what's this live stream about. So we just want to give a quick shout out that this live stream is a mixture of poetry readings by different artists of Edgar Allan Poe fandom. And we are what we would say? We are promoting our upcoming Poet Like Poe poetry contest that's sponsored by us. We are the 6 Degrees of Edgar Allan Poe, and we have
and we're kickstarting the contest with this poetry reading event.
Yes, because submissions will be taken starting Monday, April the 1st through May the 15th.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us, and I hope you decide to stick around. So back to you, Ari.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Jeannie. I'm going to start by reading my poem Nightwalkers, which, as you said, finished in first place last year in the Poet Like Poe competition. As you mentioned, I'm going to be a judge this year. But this is the poem that I wrote that won last year. I'm reading my own poem first because, of course, if I read Poe's poem first, mine would pale in comparison.
We understand.
Yes, and we're gonna like close down our screen and mute so the screen is you. So
okay.
All right.
All right. So this is Nightwalkers. Whistling through the graveyard, I came upon a man, a ghost of one killed long ago, buried in that strand. No, I am not dangerous, he whispered soft to me. I just saw you walking here and sought some company. For I walk between these stones, alone, eternally. And so I walked there by his side, below the pale moon, whose light framed us beneath the clouds of night's dark inky gloom. All through the night we wandered, in perfect harmony, as softly in my ear he spoke, recounting memories, a secret shared betwixt these stones, between my friend and me. He spoke to me throughout the night until the break of day, but with the coming of the light, all ghosts must go away. Returned he unto his grave, to rest now peacefully, as I was left to ponder what he had said to me, whispered lightly in my ear, meant only just for me. And since that night I've wandered, and oft when I'm alone, I think about that night I walked between those sacred stones. I hope that when I'm dead and gone, if restless shall I be, Some kind soul will stop a while and do the same for me. Walk with me and talk a while, and my companion be. So again, that was Nightwalkers by me, A. Rubin. That is the poem that finished first in the Poet Like Poe contest last year. Hope you enjoyed it. Now I'll move on to reading a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. I'll be reading The Bells, which is my favorite poem by Poe. I love the way that this poem shifts in the tone, and how the tone shifts are affected by the poetic techniques that Poe uses. I'm going to be reading from this pamphlet, which I got at the Edgar Allan Poe house in the Bronx, where he lived when he wrote The Bells. Interesting fact, because today is actually also the 85th anniversary of the first Batman story being published, that Poe Park in the Bronx, um, where the Edgar Allan Poe house is now located, the cottage, I should say, call it the cottage. The Edgar Allan Poe cottage is now located, is the site where Bill Finger and Bob Kane, the creators of Batman, first met to discuss the idea of Batman. So there's a connection between Batman and Edgar Allan Poe as well, beyond all the dark imagery and that kind of stuff. Anyway, this is The Bells. Hear the sledges of the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells, how they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars they oversprinkle, all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight from the molten golden notes, and all in tune. What a liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from the sounding cells, what a gush of euphony voluminously wells, how it swells, how it dwells, of the future how it tells, of the rapture it impels, to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Hear the loud alarm bells, brazen bells. What a tale of terror now their turbulency tells, in the startled ear of night, how they scream out their affright, too much horrified to speak, they only shriek, shriek out of tune, in the clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in the mad expostulation with the death and frantic fire, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire, and a resolute endeavor, now to sit or never, by the side of the pale-faced moon. Oh, the bells, 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 what a tale of terror, of despair, how they clang and crash and roar, what a horror they outpour in the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear it fully knows by the twanging and the clanging how the danger ebbs and flows. Yes, the ear distinctly tells in the jangling and the wrangling how the danger sinks and swells by the sinking or the swelling and the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clanging of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells. What a world of solemn thought their monody compels in the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright at the melancholy meaning of the tone. But every sound that floats from the rust within the throats is a groan. And the people, the people, they that dwell up in the steeple all alone, and who tolling, tolling, tolling in that muffled monotone, feel a glory in so rolling of the human heart of stone. They are neither man nor woman. They are neither brute nor human. They are ghouls. And their king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 a paean from the bells, and his merry bosom swells, with a paean from the bells, and he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the paean of the bells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the throbbing of the bells, to the sobbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, 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 as he knells, knells, knells in a happy runic rhyme to the rolling of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and the groaning of the bells. That was The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. Again, one of my favorite poems by Edgar Allan Poe. I love the way that the interior of the vowel sounds change the tone of the poem throughout. The use of repetition, which is something that I tried to use in my poem from last year, the varied meter. And I think it also shows his poetic range, where the ending of the poem is what we generally think of, what most people generally think of when they think of Edgar Allan Poe. The fourth part is all, Gothic with the ghouls and all of that
Yeah.
kind of thing. The beginning of the poem, you got silver bells, you got wedding bells, then you get it,
Happiness and
happiness, then you get into the danger of the alarm bells and the sirens and all that. And then at the end, it moves into that,
golden bells
Yeah.
and Gothic bells and
Gothic bells.
the
Yeah.
death,
So
the death tolls.
And your background is so apropos for the reading of
yes,
the bells. So
yes, and
yes,
I used
snaps. We didn't get to do snaps.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
you
you
need
go.
the
Thank you.
Gothic priest in the background ringing the bells.
Oh
Ringing the
yeah,
bells.
the
Yes,
monk.
I got a church bell. I got this off of Wiki Commons. You can get
Nice.
free images. I think it's a church in Scotland.
Oh, very cool.
But the
Yeah.
church, theoretically, this was written about there's many stories about what it was written up, but they believe that it was written about the bell in what's now Fordham University,
Okay. Yes.
which is
Yes.
near where the Poe Cottage was,
Yes.
where he
Yeah.
was living when he wrote this poem.
Yes, and I've been there in Poe
Yeah.
Park, and we did an episode, I think season 1 or season
I think it was
2,
season 1.
yeah, about Batman and
Yeah.
Poe, and
Well,
I think we called it like
mentioned-
Poe Man.
Yeah, we did that
Mhm.
one in the in season 1, but we also did one in season
More
2
specific
with a
to with
specific
Batman
comic
and
that
the
they,
Nevermore.
Yeah.
Yes.
because they actually included Poe as a sidekick
Yes,
to
detective.
Batman.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
It's great. It's a great
It is
comic.
ironic that Batman is so crossed with the Poe influence because DC, which most people may not know this, not present in company, I'm just saying, excluding present company, you probably already know this, but DC just simply stands for Detective Comic.
Yeah.
Which kind of fits Batman perfectly. And since Edgar Allan Poe is the father of the detective story, it kind of fits that he shows up in Batman comics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all
Your hat
wonderful.
can kind of tie in and be a bat
Yes,
too.
see, it
Yes.
can be a bat or the devil cat,
A
whichever
bat or a
one
cat.
it
Yeah.
was.
A bat or a cat.
And
Exactly.
I think Ari, I think some comments were generated from your reading.
Yes,
Jeannie's
Holly
gonna
and
let you know.
Season both say they love the bells. Season says that you can picture Poe hearing the bells ringing at the cottage while writing this, and that the poem is so clearly written to be read out loud. It's on the same
Yes,
level
definitely.
as the Raven in terms of how it sounds
Yes.
when it's read out loud. It's got that cadence to it,
Mhm.
as you were talking about, Ari, with the different bells. And bringing all the literary devices into the play properly, she says, well done. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Season had to duck out. She had kid stuff.
Gotcha.
But she said
Okay.
she would be back, and she said, hello, Ari, good job.
Yes.
Thank you so
So,
much.
Yes.
yeah, we enjoy having our Poe peoples joining us throughout the day and
Absolutely.
joining in.
And I would say
Are those bells earrings that you're wearing?
oh, actually no,
It's just
they're
Poe.
Poe. And then you
Poe.
can't really see, but I
Oh,
have a Poe pendant as
okay.
well. And
Mhm.
funny enough, I got these earrings at the last Tiki festival we went to in January. She had like gothic things as well as Tiki things. And so I was like, okay, this makes Poe Tiki.
Yeah.
So,
He's
There you go.
Tipo, even
yes.
though he probably did not hang out in tiki rooms, but
Well, yeah, there wouldn't have been back
No.
then, but
well,
yeah.
they would, but not with around that area.
Yeah, not what we would have
Yeah.
thought of.
Tiki's been around a long, long time, but not what we think of tiki.
Right. So, Ari, do you want to talk a little bit about your inspiration for Nightwalkers?
Um, sure. It's a like I said, it's a Gothic poem. I write a lot of Gothic poetry, and since it is a poetry contest inspired by Poe, you want to do something that kind of fits with the idea, right? It's written,
Hmm.
it's metered and rhymed, like
Mhm.
Poe's poetry was, but it varies in meter also,
Hmm.
like Poe's poetry. It uses some of the same devices, especially in addition to the different metrical um, patterns, also the repetition, especially at the end of the verse. But I also wanted to do something maybe a little different, not entirely derivative.
Yeah.
And it's you can see really with the point of view, and it also, the meter. It sounds like me. It doesn't exactly sound like Poe, but you don't want to do something completely derivative. And I'm glad that the judges last year enjoyed it
Yes.
and thought that it was, you know, close enough to
Lewis.
Poe
Yeah.
to be in the contest. But you know, that's basically, basically it. I mean, it's a I've been writing that theme has come up a lot. It came up also in another poem that I had that won the blue ribbon at the Long Island Fair last year, which
Hmm.
their theme for last year was Haunted Long Island. And again, I had a ghost coming back and talking to someone who was alive,
Yeah.
in a different situation, a completely different poem, but that kind of motif has been popping up in my poetry um, over the last few years for whatever
Okay.
reason.
Yeah, and I have
Very
to say,
nice.
in general, it's a genre that is trending right now in
Hmm.
many mediums across the board. I know there's been some TV shows that are based around ghosts
Yeah.
and then the
Mhm.
supernatural from CW. Thankfully, it went off the air after 15 years. It should have died a long time ago. But anyway, so those motifs have been popping up back and forth, and you have to think that the pandemic definitely brought in some
Hmm.
Yeah.
connections there. And like with your reading of the bells, and then with Gregory's indication of his reading of the bells,
Hmm.
you can see the differing that the bells touch, the
Yeah.
differing people that it touches
Hmm.
through the reading, through their acceptance, like the inflection and the cadence and everything can be differing between the readers, can be differing between the reciters,
Yeah.
and that all has a very poignant Poe attachment to
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
we're glad that we have that sharing of the different views, and then
Hmm.
everybody can read it themselves and hear it, and
Find their
then
own Poe
yeah,
voice.
find their
Yeah.
own Poe voice. That's kind of the whole point, especially in the poetry world.
Yeah.
So, and then Ari has, don't you have not just the awful alphabet coming out? Do you not have? You were working on something else, right?
Yeah, no, that came out last week. So I have the Awful
Oh, it
Alphabet,
is out. Okay.
which is the Awful Alphabet is on backer kit for another 11 days.
Oh,
Okay.
Uh,
cool.
it's a children's book for adults, um, and it is dark, and people who like Poe, it's dark, it's metered, it's rhymed, and people who like Poe will like it, although I'd say it is more modern than Nightwalkers or the types of things we'd be doing for Poe.
Yeah.
So related but different. But I think that be a lot of crossover appeal. It's on Backer Kit. If you go to Backer Kit and just search the Awful Alphabet, it will come up. I can put the link in the YouTube comments or
Okay.
something like that. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Very cool.
But yes, and then the other thing was last week, March 20th, it actually came out. I had a story in Ahoy Comics Project Cryptid, which
Nice.
was a Bigfoot story.
Oh,
So
very
again,
cool.
it's a parallel worlds Bigfoot story, and it was something that could only be done as a comic. It wouldn't work in any other medium. So it was half
Okay.
the issue of Project Cryptid from Ahoy Comics, issue number 7. You should still be able to, your local comic store should still be able to order it for you.
Okay,
If they
great.
haven't all
Okay.
sold out. And it was the, even though it's number 7, each story in the Project Cryptid series is a standalone. It's not like you have to read 1 through 6 to
Oh,
get number
nice.
7.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's an anthology series, and each
Okay.
issue has 2 standalone stories. So the story by me and illustrated by Richard Pace is along with the story by Joe Illidge and illustrated by Jamal Igle. They're the 2 stories that comprise that issue. And if you only read that issue, you should read all of it because it's a great series,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't feel like you have to go back to the beginning because it's not a continuous story. Each one is standalone.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good.
Very nice.
And I want to bring in the point of, I know when I was teaching before I had to retire, my kids loved graphic novels.
Yes, they still do. They
And
still do.
so graphic novels to me is just the next step up from a comic. It's just longer in my
Yeah,
opinion.
longer.
So and I just want everybody to know that there is a difference between comic and graphic novel, and even kids will love both of them in
Yeah.
my opinion. So
And
you don't have to love one more than the other. You can enjoy both of them.
Yeah.
And in addition to the Batman thing, there's a long tradition of Poe in the comics. I know when we were down for Poe Fest last year, they had the exhibit of all the Poe comics, all the Bernie
Yes.
Whites and stuff. There's some amazing
Mm-hmm.
Poe themed comics that have come out over the years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, the Poe character shows up in the
Simpsons.
It's, one of those. I think it's a symptom, but but you can have his characters show up in all those different types of cartoons. So why
Mhm.
not have it comic
Yeah,
across the board? I can
absolutely.
see Poe as a superhero for the goths and the emos in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Yep.
fit with me. He was my hero.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
was definitely goth in the in their early years. Some days I still am, but not as out in the world as I used to
Yes.
be. I don't dress
I
all
always
black.
had, yeah, I always had predilections, but I'm too lazy to do the makeup and the thing
Yeah,
and all. It's too, you know, I just don't
I'm
have that.
more
I
procrastinator.
don't have that, you know, I
Yeah,
am not an early enough riser to spend that much time getting ready
Yeah.
to get up.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
that is my thing. I used to have a buzz cut when I was younger, specifically so I didn't have to comb my hair in the morning.
Well,
And
nothing wrong with
then
Yeah,
that.
that makes sense.
after I grew my hair a little longer, then I had the beard specifically so I wouldn't have to shave. So that my getting ready time in the morning
Uh-huh.
very, very, very fast.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, we find
especially,
those things
yeah.
to cut down our
So
Shortcut.
time. Yeah.
so while I was always writing things like this and reading things like this and
Mm-hmm.
into all the related mediums and all of that kind of thing, I would
Yeah.
never have that, you know, it expressed itself through my art and my writing more so than through my presentation because
Yeah.
like I said, I am not a morning person, and when I was a teacher and I had to be
Mm-hmm.
ready to teach that first
Mhm.
bell at 8 in the morning. Yeah, no, not,
Yeah,
not
I'm the
yeah.
same way, and I have been very lucky going back into the classroom the past 3 years. My planning time is the first, like on our even block day on second period, first period
Yeah.
of the day, and then first period on odd days. I'm a dean, so I can wake up and then I am full on third and fourth period.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my students enjoyed it most whenever I only had the first period and second period before I had to have them during third period
Yeah.
because I would be, more approachable. I'd had at
Yeah.
least 2 cups of coffee by then, so I wasn't ready to, get the flying monkeys on them.
Right.
They
Yeah.
actually the cup with the Wicked Witch saying "Don't make me release the flying monkeys" was one of my
Mhm.
favorite I had while teaching. Because it's like, don't make me release the flying monkeys. But Ari, we love that you join us. We love having
Yes.
Thank you.
met
Thank you for
you and
having me.
having you, involved.
Yes. And what other projects are in the works right now?
In the works right now. I'm working on a few things. I'm about to start querying a novel.
Oh,
So things
nice.
may not, you know, I might not be writing as much because I'll be involved in that process. When my
Hmm.
backer kit, my crowdfunding campaign rounds up or finishes up, that's the next major thing that I have to do. Um, I have a short story coming out and an anthology about climate change
Oh,
coming
neat.
out of Virginia. I have a poem coming out in Spitball magazine, which is a literary journal um, dedicated to baseball.
Oh,
Um,
very cool.
I have
Okay.
a poem in the forthcoming Love Letters to Poe Volume 3,
Yeah, can't wait
um,
for that.
as
Yes.
well as a villanelle based on the Telltale Heart, which is the
Hmm.
theme of that anthology. And I'm working on a few other comics things are further off, but
Okay.
I'm always working on them. I always have my hands in many pots
That's awesome.
like that,
That's
and of
awesome.
course, judging the Poet Like Poe contest,
Great.
which
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
starts on April 1st, the beginning of
Hmm.
Natural Poetry Month, and it ends on my
Yes.
birthday,
Oh,
Very
October
that's
16th.
cool.
Yeah,
exciting. That's exciting.
That's very
yeah,
perfect.
Yes, and then you guys will have about a month and a half to go
Judging.
through
Yes.
all of them, and we'll announce the winner on July 1st, just like
there
we
we
did
go.
last year.
Yep.
So,
So
yes.
we're looking forward
Mm,
to it.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
So.
So, yes, again, Ari, thank you so much for joining
Hmm.
us
thank you for having me,
sharing,
as
and
always.
We will talk to
yes.
you soon.
Yes. Have
Yes,
a wonderful weekend.
yes, you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And then our next guest is an actual videography
Yes, it is. Well,
that was
and I
submitted.
think what we're going to do is we're going to